bit stormy here in Sarasota today, but I wanted to take a first look at one of these Parrot mini drones, and this one is the unit they call the Swing, and it is supposed to be a vertical takeoff. That means it can go straight up, sort of like a helicopter, and then it can transition to level flight, whereas you see in the pictures it has wings. The X shape becomes wings, and then it can fly around. Now, one of the reasons I'm looking at this is that Parrot is selling these at great discounts, about 75% lower than the original price. And if you take a look on our website, we have a new article about drone bargains, which in 2018, which is now, there are some unbelievable ones. Retail boxes. Inside the box are two other retail boxes. One contains the Bluetooth controller, which was originally sold as an option, and the other contains the Parrot Swing. You can see just by the packaging and by the separate boxes and by what it includes that this was originally a $100 plus arrangement. My guess is about $150 with that controller, if they had it at all. The controller that comes with it is Bluetooth. It looks a little bit like a piece of a game console. I'm going to assume that it has within it a rechargeable battery, because there's a little USB port on the bottom and it comes with a USB cord. It has a mobile phone holder that's screwed in. First impression from just assembling it is that it is of decent quality in terms of fit, finish, and manufacturing. It went together very nicely, and I'd say, in general, it's between what we would call toy grade, throwaway, and the higher end consumer units like from DJI or something like that. But it surely looks like a nice quality of a controller. So of course we have to see how this all works. A Bluetooth cable, it seems like the micro USB, the thinner type of a connection here on the controller comes with it. And while we're waiting to put the drone together and take a look at it, I'm going to just assume this plugs in and charges, so I'll go plug it in while we look at the rest of the drone package. Let's take a look. Let's pop this thing out. Oh my gosh, it's lightweight. It is so lightweight. It looks a little bit like a bug with those eyes. I love some of Parrot's designs. If their stuff had always worked as well as it looked, Parrot would probably be sitting on top of the drone market. These wings are made of a foam, and they're in a very thin plastic casing. It's very nicely engineered. It looks like it would put up with quite a bit of bending without breaking. The motors are your brushed type of a motor that you would definitely expect on a low-priced model like this. That means they'll probably need replaced after X amount of flights, X being somewhere between 8 and 20 or 25, depending on how you fly it, how many bushes you fly it into, and exactly how heavy the drone is to the motors. But it sure looks nice. Oh my gosh, it's got a sensor of sorts on back. I don't know if that senses the ground. It looks like a sonar sensor. It maybe senses the ground when it's landing, because if this thing works right, it's going to land like that. So it will take off like a quadcopter, and then it will eventually turn and go to straight and level flight. If this thing works, it will be truly amazing. Also has a USB port on the rear. There's your storms kicking up here. After all, it's Florida. Hopefully we won't get blown away. Of course, you can get blown away in another way, but I mean, we won't get blown away by the wind. So the drone would get blown away, so chances are I'm not going out with it until the wind dies down later today. But that would be a perfect opportunity to plug into that little USB port you see on the rear, right to the right of that sensor, and charge her up. The battery will slide into the rear of the drone right there. I see there's a little connector on it. I'll match it up with one of those connectors And there she goes. Oh, nice little snap it made when it went in there. So there's your battery. Obviously it makes the drone a little bit heavier. Oh, look at that. It's talking to me. Well, I'll plug it in just to make sure we get her charged up. Usually these batteries are shipped 70% charged or something like that in a storage mode. On-off button is under the mobile thing here, so I just push that. And oh look, it says Parrot, it's flashing. Oh, it turned green. And if the lights on the up, there we go, the lights on the machine itself turn green, which means that it's bound. Give it a shot and see if it works. Well, what do you know? It went a meter off the ground or so and it stabilized. It will work perfectly without a mobile device. You also have the option of putting in your mobile device and running a piece of software from Parrot. So even though the Bluetooth controller and the Swing will work perfectly without a mobile device, you also have the option of putting in your mobile device and running a piece of software from Parrot. And there may be some extra modes available in that, but I find it distracting at this point on a quadcopter like this to have to stare at a screen. It's hard enough to operate the buttons and the sticks and watch the machine, so I'm going to wait a little bit till I get the hang of this thing. As you can see, there are quite a few buttons and various push tabs on the control. Can do everything from a U-turn, taking pictures, changing the various modes, and there's a number of buttons that are programmable. So somebody who likes to fiddle around a lot, this isn't going to be for the person who just wants to take a toy grade quadcopter out and fly it, but for the person interested in vertical takeoff and flight and who wants to learn and is willing to, you know, put up with the crashes and study the manual a little bit, it looks like it could be a lot of fun. We'll find out, because if a guy like me can learn to fly this in level flight, I have never honestly flown RC airplanes, so if I can do it, then chances are you can do it. This little thing has worked so far, and it's still working. It is truly amazing. I like it. I like it. There it goes. You really get the idea of flight and also wind effect on flight. Look how much faster it goes when the wind was behind it. Okay, so today we have a day with less wind. Maybe we can fly it a little easier. When this turns green, that means it's bound with the quadcopter. That's the takeoff button there. And it's in quadcopter mode. It can go forward, backward. It can do all the things that a regular quadcopter does. So like a regular airplane, I think I'll take off wrong way. Let's see. Take off into the wind. So there we go. Very easy to fly. flying into the wind now, so it appears slower. Breeze here now, coming up. And if you get in trouble, you turn it back into a quadcopter. And it's always easy to bring it back to you. And then hit the quadcopter button again. That's this one, and she'll land.